some seeking adventure, some bound in chains. Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one country.
Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up your telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, issues trending, socioeconomic issues, or any topical issue of the day. And most important, you can introduce your own topic. We take calls. We stop in the middle of a subject matter because what you have to say takes precedent all the time. The number to call is 4420175, and you're on social media and Facebook and YouTube and Sister Radio in Tareku. I think there's 92.10. Right. So you can give us a call. This is a very interesting period. You have a situation in Russia where it seems to be getting out of hand. It appears that more and more the world is looking down the barrel of nuclear weapons, because it's not easy to push a big, powerful nation like Russia to permit themselves or voluntarily push themselves in a corner. When your back is against the wall, pride and ego could lead you to do dangerous things. Russia have nuclear weapon. And the fact that after 8 months battling Ukraine, it doesn't seem that Russia is making the headway that they would like to make in a conventional war. And Ukraine is ably supported by a number of countries in the West and countries who is against the war. But the people in Ukraine are fighting for the country. And they're fighting for their life. And perhaps they're fighting to prevent them to be enslaved. Sometimes you have to go back and look in the history of Ukraine and remember the Holodomor. There was a period of time during Joseph Stalin, I think it's 1933, 35 or somewhere around there, when over 13% of the population of Ukraine, it is alleged, was starving. They eat dogs. And some accuse them of cannibalism to survive. Ukraine voluntarily give up their nuclear weapon. I think that was signed between Russia, United States, and Britain. And obviously, they want the right to make their own decision, to live in peace, and not to be invaded by Russia. So now Russia have invaded Ukraine, destroying the infrastructure, massacring people. But it doesn't seem to be able to hold the territory. Ukraine is a big country, 36 million people, and it's the biggest country in Europe after Russia. And Russia have 129 million people. 129 is a lot of million. Great have 110,000. United States of America have about 330 million people. And join up in Europe is a lot of people. So to hold a country that big, it seems to be proving a real challenge. And that could more and more contribute to nuclear weapons. So we in Grenada here, the most we could do is to watch. I don't think the Caribbean has done enough, insignificant as it might be. The Caribbean have not spoken with one voice on the situation in Russia. Africa have not spoken with one voice. And I thought that was a good opportunity for Africa and the Caribbean to be more loud, asking for peace and stability and trying to be a broker in this big war. Russia says, some say it's a proxy war. India and China have been playing games, supporting Russia, but a little bit quiet. Africa kind of divided. And when you see these things happening and people not saying anything, those who could say and those who may have clout in the issue, and I believe Africa and the Caribbean voice could have a little clout. And China and India could have had more clout if they had stood up for multilateralism, because Ukraine is a sovereign country. So that's about Russia. But in Grenada here, we have a new government came in. And as I said before, whether new government or old government, both of them have the same macroeconomic policies. So those who preoccupy, if foreigners want to come to your country, they want to know what is the macroeconomic policies of the main political parties. All of them have the same thing. All of them want to sell passport. All of them believe tourism is the answer. All of them believe in the St. George's University and the education service. All of them believe in that. All of them support the diaspora because a significant sum of money comes from the diaspora in terms of remuneration. People sending money back. So both governments is the same in this respect. All of them believe in a foreign policy where they don't want to anger the United States and Britain and Europe, and they still want to be able to deal with China and Russia and Cuba. All governments believe in that. So there is no difference in government there. So some of my concern, bearing in mind that all governments believe in the same thing, some of my concern is the government tax policies. And generally in Grenada, I agree with the government tax policies. Once the government don't drop below the threshold of $3,000 per month, today, if you have to pay personal income tax, you have to be making more than $3,000. I agree with that. So the difference between governments here, small difference, although it could have serious impact. This government, for the first time, post-1984, adopt a policy, a strategy that I don't agree with. I don't agree with it at all. I think it is not correct. I think it is not right. I think it is politically dumb. And ultimately, I think the government is going to pay a price for that. It is ill-advised. That is the policy of incorporating political victimization as part of your modus operandi, as part of your policies. Against it. I think you have serious consequences. My biggest concern, based upon the government policy, is the education. The rippling effect that policy could have in education. I in Tong Long, and I saw what went on in the revolution. The revolution paid specific attention to education. They were very meticulous. In all the excitements, a lot of people ignore the revolution attitude towards education. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, afternoon. Afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
It's amazing you would have touched that topic, because I had this on my mind. Will the government be introduced as part of the educational projects? Will they be introducing military training in the schools like we had during the revolution? Will they be introducing military training for students in our schools? What is that?
I don't, before the revolution, there was the cadets. Remember, before the revolution, we had the cadets in the days of Erigiri. In fact, the cadets were more dynamic then than in the revolution. So the revolution continued with the cadets. So it was not a new initiative that was in the revolution. It was there before the revolution. Whether this government do that or not, I don't think that is the issue. I think the government the government incorporate political victimization. During the revolution, they had an issue with people who were counter-revolutionaries. And whether you came from the privilegencia, whether you came from the proletariat, whether you was even a member of the Jewel movement, once the government felt that it was a counter, you was put under heavy manners. So the revolution had a specific issue against counter-revolutionaries. In Grenada today, the government seems to be on an issue with yellow, their members. And that's why I said post-84, we never had that in any political party. Every political party, after the fall of the revolution, was chastised, was challenged, was accused of showing some level of favoritism to the members, particularly the militant members. Every government was accused of that, but no government incorporated as part of the political policy. So you did not see any rippling effect in education, as if the Ministry of Education and the schoolhouse was not there were no consequences there. Nobody that I know of, I did not hear anybody complain that my child was affected in school because of my political belief in the revolution that took place, but not after that. And this is my concern. No government use political victimization. No government incorporate that policy in the government. But this government is doing it. Now, I look at a number of things the government is planning to do, and that's where I register my concern. I fear that the rippling effect of that policy could well end up in the schoolhouse. You remember, our teachers was on work to rule for a long time, so a lot of issues, a lot of activities they did not participate in. But there are a number of people that was critical. They were critical of the teachers because of that policy. Now the government seems to have a relationship with the teachers. They claim with the unions. They claim to maintain good trade union relationship. And now the government incorporates political victimization. And now the government intends to employ some teachers on contract. Now, during the revolution, the schools where the principals was not in sync with the revolutionary activities, the government put teachers there to undermine the principals and to undermine teachers that they call them counter-revolutionaries. And some teachers left the country. Some teachers felt the best thing for me to do is to bail out. And some principals became only figureheads. The true authority in the school was the teacher sent by the revolution. During that time, teachers demonstrated against teachers in the union. So this is my concern. When a government incorporates political victimization as its policy, you could have a rippling effect on the school. And I'll tell you why my concern. You would hear, and perhaps every one of you perhaps have heard these stories. You may not have investigated to see what level of truth there is. That some people may say, the teacher say you head hard. I ain't interfering with you at all. I don't have nothing to do with you because your mother does come and cuss people. So you might hear in some schools, the teachers claim that they're not telling the children nothing of that child because the mother is this and the mother is that. Or the mother may come to the school and cuss the teacher. The mother may come to the school and be disrespectful. The mother may say things in the community about the teacher. So the child is going to pay for it in the school. There are instances where children were not permitted to graduate when they in Form 5 because they had an altercation with a teacher in Form 2. In Form 2, they had an altercation with a teacher, so they were not permitted to graduate in Form 5. Now, when a government introduced political victimization as part of the policies, then no color comes involved in it. What happened when you're teaching a child of a loudmouth NNP? Or NNP political activists, a politico? To what extent that child will be affected in school? I do not see the Ministry of Mobilization as nothing. I see it as part of a government policy that want to use that ministry. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon. Mr. Pierre, I know the same for election, and it is said after that they have a list of people that they have to get rid of if ever they win the election. So you come like you say, like that was in the policy. Was to just send on people, the people that wear a green jersey, to that was supporting them. So they have that in the policy that was to execute. And when I hear people talk about like they give the government 10 out of 10 for all the achievement, I see some achievement that is negative towards a group of people in the country. And what I'm saying, I would say like Prime Minister said that to be able to go forward, you can have some going forward and some staying back. But when you victimize them who support green, and see what I'm saying, Mr. Peter, sometimes I will say you don't know. A man could put on a green jersey, a man could put on a yellow jersey, but when he go in the ballot box to vote and DBND, you don't know who you vote for. You don't know who you vote for. Right? So I want to say to the government, there's things. It's not really the enemy that will bring the downfall, but it's people around you who are advising you and to do evil things against the own people, the people that they say is the friend, but because they support the other party, you victimizing them. So I want to say again also, if we say that we are one Caribbean people, and our brothers and sisters, we have to reach code for everyone. And for we to go forward, everyone has to go forward. Because you see, people, one step we can go forward, one step back, and say we're making progress, making progress and transformation. I'm saying, I want to say something. As what I would say, Grenada is a Christian country. But when we call ourselves a Christian country, we have two things we have to do: love our brother as we love ourselves, and reach out and make sure we reach good for everyone. And see, like, let us put aside the hatred. Let us have a heart of love for one another. Because also, not every in your own home, husband and wife may have a different opinion, but you have to respect a man's opinion, respect a man's choice, respect a man's choice. Because in that chair, because some your own child in the home, you say something, you say, Mom, yes, I hear, but I just cannot go away. Why will you do? Will you put him outside the house? Will you get vaccine and trim out? Because if we go to go to operate as we got God, we can't compare God with us, because many things that we did that is wrong, and God forgive us. So I see, if you don't like a man and he did something and you ask God to forgive him, God forgive him. But what do you find happen, Mr. Pierre? There are some people in the country here, they feel forgiveness could only forgiveness only belongs to some, but some people can get forgiveness. So, Mr. Pierre,
Thank you, Colonel.
Mr. Pierre, I want to say concerning Saturday coming, the NMP St. John Northwest will be having a social event at the Grand Mall playing field, starting at 1 p.m. Saturday 8. And we have barbecue, chicken and pork on sale, chicken and chips, grilled fish, and a local bar await the people of St. John Northwest. So come out and support.
Thank you, Colonel. You see, Colonel, if the NDC, after 100 days, people could give them 10. Nothing is wrong with that. See, I said one of the things, if somebody agrees with political victimization, they would give the NDC 10. My biggest objection to the National Democratic Congress so far is the fact that it incorporate victimization as part of the policy, and that is wrong. And I would like to hear the members, the ministers, come publicly and explain what I mean by that. I see it as wrong. It is incorrect. It's not right. If you believe that individuals should not align to a political party, do not openly, a government worker should not openly flaunt a political party. Nothing is wrong with that. But over the years, all the political parties encourage members to openly flaunt them. The NDC did it. And you have more senior NDC supporters that work with government that flaunt political parties more than NNP. Based upon the pictures that I'm seeing, there are more NDC teachers and public officers that wear yellow clothes. The unions themselves, when I listened to the unions, I thought the unions was encouraging the members to openly flaunt a political party. So I'm saying the government should come and remind workers about that. But if you're going to target green people alone, then that's victimization. And it's wrong. And then what would be the consequences in the school? I saw teachers. I participated in the social media posting. Teachers mercilessly attacking the other political party on social media. There was openly flaunting a political party. So what the government doing is wrong. The government is turning the hand of the clock back. We're going to regress. It's going to contribute to this discord on the ground. It's going to cause hatred. The individuals the government is targeting are not high end of the scale public officers. It's not public officers that would have a high political impact. Not permanent secretaries, not senior public officers. It's cook, cleaners, road workers. This is wrong. Both political parties encourage people to put on jersey. Nobody never object. I take the strongest objection to the trade union in our country. The trade union need to call out on its members and say, discontinue the habit of identifying with a political party. Do not openly flaunt a political party because they are a new policy of victimization. What you're doing is not correct. Grenada is a small country, 110,000 people, 100,000 people, 90,000 people, whatever is more opportune to you at the time. You have homes where brothers and sisters, husband and wife is in support different political parties. I saw on the street people dressed in yellow, all their hair yellow, hugging up their friends that dress in green, all their hair green. And you have good jest and banter and discussion. There was a shop in Grenville where all the candidates of both sides was on the shop. And inside the shop, you had partners there drinking and liming in the same vehicle. What the National Democratic Congress is doing is wrong. And there should be other voices in the country telling them they're wrong. No other political party has done that in the past. When you speak about that, people tell you about the NNP transfer the commissioner of police or these people. That's a different story. Government could transfer public officers from a place of equal status. Welcome, caller.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes, welcome.
That Lord, Daddy, or Heavenly Father, talking to us. What I see this morning in the sky, that redness come out since about 5:30 night time. As I tell you, I'm not a Grenadian. I don't carry Grenadian time. When my watch saying 5:30, it's 4:45. And the sky was red. When I tell you red, it's red.
But that could be, you see, there are explanation for that. We are in September, October, November, December.
Yes.
In November, we expect the most rain. So you have the rain fighting with the sun and the clouds. And then you're going to show the redness. There's nothing spectacular about it. It's just because of the weather condition.
The thing is, I 75 years of age.
We never see that one before.
It have a lady, she in she 90s. And she said, Miss Jacob, she never ever witnessed that in the sky.
But sometimes, a long time.
And September month, we all time that rain. We never witnessed that heat in September.
You see,
something coming.
No.
Watch me. And some of us, we don't praying enough.
Yeah,
in God.
That is true. But this is the season. Grenada have had very good weather for the longest while. We have sun, we have rain. September come, we don't have no serious hurricane. We have to thank God for that. But that doesn't mean that the weather condition, the period for it, right up to October, November, December, we could have serious weather conditions.
Well, I know when I was growing up, September, October,
they used to say
November,
September, remember, October, all over. But not now. You could have periodically the whole climatic condition change. So people have to be very careful. Some people they have their houses, and the houses are not built with the hurricane in mind.
So,
You know?
my dear brother,
Yeah.
you go and get along good night.
Yes,
Have a
thank you.
blessed and a wonderful day.
Yes.
Love
Yeah.
you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. It's very important that during this period that we don't have phobia. It's a rainy season. You could have serious weather condition. You could, irrespective of the fact that September is over, but you could have serious weather condition that could cause devastating consequences outside it. We have a call on the line. Welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good
Yes, my
afternoon.
brother.
Well, September is one of the months that I prayed
Yeah.
from Janet.
You have
I prayed
Janet and you have Ivan.
Janet and
Emily.
Emily.
Yeah.
And Ivan.
Yeah.
And
Beulah.
I was about 7 years in Ivan. In
Janet.
Now, two things. We talking about we hear the government talking about achievement in 100 days. I don't really want to bash anybody, but I don't see much of achievement for the government. But I must admit that the government have made some changes. Some people are responding to, some they're not satisfied with. But in terms of talking about achievement, I don't see it because most of the things that the government is doing right now is from funds that was set aside there already, projects that was there already, and you're continuing them and you're finishing them, which every government is supposed to do when they come in for. If there are things that you're not satisfied with, you will raise a red ring. But at the same time, government is continuous. So I am not seeing anything as yet as anything as achievement from the government. But I must say that they have settled down to an extent. I have settled down. But to say that they achieve anything, I can't point out 5 or 6 things that they achieve from things. But I'm concerned, Mr. Pierre, about the whole world is talking about food security. Every day, every station, every country, in Barbados talking about food security, Trinidad talking, St. Vincent, everybody's talking about food security. I am not sure that we're really serious about food security. Food security to me means that you must be able to have enough food to feed yourself and for export. Marketing board was supposed to be responsible for helping us export our products. And marketing board become one of the worst entity that was in Grenada for some time. They have not helped to find market or to help us with market for nothing. We have the cocoa board and the nutmeg board. Every year for the longest time, government have to prop up the cocoa board and the nutmeg board. And I'm saying that because I was part of the cocoa board to an extent. Every year, the government have to give money to help the cocoa board pay their bills, and nothing goes to the farmers in terms of profit for the farmers or so. Nutmeg board, same thing, have to lean on government year after year. And we heard the nutmeg board, the cocoa board said that they make $30-something million in 5 years' time in the cocoa factory. And we can see it. We're hearing now that they're about building a new factory. And we don't see any much more cocoa producing. We're not seeing farmers better off. So how we could be securing food security? We have license to import or to export soursop, perhaps the only island in the Caribbean. Are we seeing that drive for soursop plantation? I could testify that I was in charge of a that we planted over 400 soursop.
You're making a lot of points one time.
Yes,
a lot of
points.
I say, listen.
A lot of points.
Listen. You're making a lot of points one time, so we can discuss none of it. But if you make 1 or 2 of the points, then we could have a discussion.
Okay, I could stop there, let you discuss some of them, and next time we will discuss the rest, because that's what I see about food security. So I don't mind stopping there and let us discuss some of them, because they are crucial, and I believe that there's need and there's room for food security, but I'm not seeing it coming. Thank you.
I don't think no government in Grenada have seriously addressed food security. And I have no faith that this government have the ability to address food security. I don't have it. Take, for instance, they make a big do about planting spice. And I thought it was a very good idea to plant more spice in Grenada because we have too much of the tree bees planted. But the government came to power in July, the end of June. And by September, the government planting spice. And one of the strong NDC political activists that I and him always in discussion, he come to me to brag about that. And I asked him, where did the government get the plants? Because spice is not tomatoes and lettuce. You can't prepare it in 2 months. So please tell me where the government get the plants. And then come back and we talk. And this is why I have very little faith that government could address these issues about food security. We in Grenada changed the habit of our eating over the last 50 years. Yard fowls produced by us used to be more than half of the chicken consumed over the last 40 years. We changed that. And we consuming now imported birds. And yard fowl now perhaps whatever percentage we consume is negligible. So we stop produce our own chicken and we gravitate to what is imported. Today, when you go to a shop in Grenada or a supermarket, all the snacks are imported. But if you hear agriculturists and people with plenty certificate talk about food security, we have a number of agronomists, but they don't have the ability to improve the shelf life of nothing, neither dashing or not. The local things we make, we more targeting tourists. A pound of pumpkin is about $3 a pound. What does it cost to grow pumpkin? Our children has lost the taste for a lot of the local products we produce because it is too expensive. So somebody going to buy pumpkin, one slice of pumpkin perhaps is about $2.50. So if the children in the house don't eat in pumpkin, it's better for the parents. Ramen and macaroni pie. Even when the government may have an activity, there is nothing local about it. So this food security we're talking about is a stunt. We're not genuinely interested in addressing that. That's just a stunt. People expect government to talk about food security and government talking about it. I think a canned beef target is about $14. When you bring it on the shelf, you go still sell. Even the farmers in Grenada, don't believe what I tell you. When you go in a restaurant, watch the farmer out of the side of your ears. Macaroni pie there in the plate. The farmers themselves don't want to eat yam pie. So it's only talk. Tambran come out from Mexico in Grenada. Beet is about $4.50 a pound in the supermarket. We bring it from Trinidad. Trinidad must bring it from Canada. Irish potato is one of the biggest things in the food bill, but we won't plant potato. And you think we're going to go to a big farmer, let's say like Ramdani, and ask him to plant 20 acres of potato and give him assistance? No, we ain't doing that. This thing is a stunt. And government want to sell their estate. Although the government evoked the spirit of Maurice Bishop, the government want to sell marketing board. That is why the price of sugar raised now. It was 160, it's about 2 something. The government is laying the groundwork, not for marketing board to work, to justify its sales. The government is laying the groundwork, not for electricity to work, but to make it more attractive to sell it. The government will sell based upon the government policy now. I believe estate like Monkridge and Granba, they're preparing to sell it. Government intends to legalize weed. Ask the government if they go grow it and what they put in place. This food security is a stunt. We're making one amount of noise about food security. Do we have intention of eating the food we produce? When Forbes Bonham in Guyana, 40 odd years ago, said grow what you eat and eat what you grow, he banned carrot. So Guyanese start to eat pumpkin, raw pumpkin. If I hear about carambola, Guyana. Black cake, Guyana. He banned cheese. Said no more cheese in the country. And then Guyanese start to have guideline. They're lining up if they hear something come. The University of the West Indies never support Forbes Bonham. And no other leader in the Caribbean gave him support then. So Forbes Bonham say, Guyana go be the bread basket in the Caribbean. Guyana is the bread basket. And Jack they at one time invite them to buy land in Guyana. But none of our politicians in the OECS decide to spend a 50 million to buy land in Guyana. The country is small. So we have to separate talk from practicalities. When I listen to government and I see this stunt the government tried to pull out on spice, they must have freeze all the spice plants that Maribor and Ashenden have. Freeze it. So the farmers that want to plant the spice, the farmer that apply for spice plant, the farmer that planning to go in Maribor and get spice couldn't get it. Government freeze it to take picture and give the impression that they achieved spice project in 100 days. Come on. No government supposed to try to trick people like that. You're not supposed to do that. And because individuals is supportive of the government, they need to tell the government you're wrong. I like the idea of replanting spice. We could have much more spice. All those mango tree that over the road breaking vehicle windscreen when you're passing, cut them down. They make no sense. Cut them in half so that the side of the road would not erode, and you replace it perhaps by planting vetiver or spice. We have to do things that make sense. Instead of the government fighting to victimize people, the government have to try to get this small population we have working together and in unison. That is what we need to do. We need a result. Every time we have a crisis, people make money. This is the time for Grenadians to turn millionaire. This is the time for Grenadians to make money. This is not the time for any sensible government to come in power and spending time to victimize people. The Ministry of Mobilization, that is what for. That is what it is for. To act like the hit ministry. Maybe when you apply for a scholarship, you have to pass through them. And that is why I'm so concerned about the rippling effect of this policy in the schoolhouse. And numbers of children have been affected in school because they was rude, because they was disrespectful, because their mother is a kind of woman. That is the language it has used. Your mother is a kind of woman. Not father, you know. The father doesn't say hell was them. But they say your mother is a kind of woman. She gone cuss in the school. Because they reduce her to scraps. The school reduce her to scraps. When she go to parent-teachers meeting, ask them, the children is not doing well, so some of them stay away from parent-teachers meeting because they have nothing good to say about it. When you add that with green and yellow, what you think will happen in school? What you think gonna happen in school? Remember, 70% of our children cannot meet the minimum requirement in school. 70%. Those political activists with loud mouth who calling on radio, who making noise for NNP, what going to happen to the children in school? Would government employ them as teachers? Would government employ them as nurses? Because if the government decide to fire workers from Carriacou and those from Grenada, would they employ people who are known to be very active in green or yellow? Or if the parents are ministers, would government employ them as teachers? That is what the government do when the government incorporate political victimization as part of the policies. This is against the background that 70% of the children are exiting school and they can't pass maths and English. Some of those smart politician children going to succeed. Yes, caller, welcome.
Afternoon, sir.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
I come to the listening public. I have a concern about the level of incompetence that are taking place in our justice system. That system allows a convicted white English criminal to walk out free from the dungeon. That man, the way he performs is that he's a seasoned murderer and he should rot in jail. If it was a black man that put on that work, he would have rot in jail. What is good for the goose is supposed to good for the gander. The judicial system in Grenada needs a serious overhaul, a renovation. And I want the Minister of Security to perform a serious investigation. The corruption, lies, fraud, and deceit that is going on decades ago, Like they think it's all of us Grenadian that is non-skull, noddles and fools, so they could trick us and do what they want and get away with it. We have guys on there with boat, they all with weed. The boat happening and they have them there, no bail, nothing. It's very unfair to us. The girl that died there, I know her from a child. I used to call her in the grandfather name, Cheryl, and she used to laugh for me. I never expect she would have gone travel and meet such serial criminal to come back here. That man was a serial murderer.
Caller, a serial murderer is somebody who would have done a crime of a similar nature.
He must be doing it in England.
But caller, we can't see that. We can't. Yeah, but the guy got away on a point of technicality. And
put her in a suitcase.
yeah, but you see, This kind of crime bring out a lot of emotion in people. They are crimes of passion, love, tabanka. It brings out a lot of emotion. But we have to deal with the crime as a man and a woman, and not necessarily as an Indian or a white man or a black man. We have to prepare to deal with a crime like that. Here, the man was married to the person as far as he had a child. So there must have been some love in it. Romeo and Juliet love. Huh? Yes.
He not want to speak to nobody.
Yeah, well, he's a little Romeo and Juliet love that gone wrong there.
To
And
me,
then,
that man was more sick. I always used to see him with about 8, 9 dogs.
well, yes, but he had a wife in it and a child. So some love must have existed.
I mean, anyway, I'm in mental case and he should go in asylum.
Yeah, but we can't. We have to be
Thank you,
careful.
Sir President.
Yes, yes. Thank you. You see, there are some crimes of passion. And sometimes I believe when these crimes come about, we end up getting the press help, the press and radio personalities. We bring out all emotion in it. It's a man and a woman, a love story. And then you have tabanka and tabankchok and tabankrin. And you have crime comes out about it. But because of the media hyper and the passion, and we find every excuse to bring in race, it's a man and a woman. And in the same way, a number of people get away because of technicalities. Some people get locked up because of technicalities. We have a good justice system, but it have its flaws. There's no perfect system in the world. So I think sometimes we radio personalities have to help to tone down the anger. Yes, caller, welcome.
Pierre,
Yes, caller, welcome.
good morning, brother. How are you? Good?
Great, man.
Yeah, I hope you had a good weekend.
Yeah, good, great, man.
Listen to me now. All mine are here talking about victimization. Listen to me. The government of Grenada, the past 6 months, the past 2 months, the normal poll, they are 97 new police officers. Is that victimization?
Caller,
They said
caller,
225
caller.
new police.
How much are the
That's
people?
victimization.
Caller.
Answer me. Hey.
Caller, how much are the people that they employ are yellow people?
87 policemen.
That's the question I'm asking, you know. If
87
the
policemen, 225 nurses. Victimization. Hey.
you have your radio on, you have your radio on, so your radio giving you echoing back. So you're listening to us, you're listening to the radio, and we kind of running out of time. But the best thing to do is when you call us, is to turn down your radio. So you listen your radio, and you're not hearing us. The issue that I'm making, and I think the biggest objection I have to the government at this time, and it's a very fundamental objection I have, and it's not going away, that the government incorporate political victimization as part of the policies. The fact that the government employ nurses, the government opened the door for me to ask if these nurses are NDC. The fact that the government employ workers, it opens the door for people to ask, is it yellow workers? Because the government has fired people in Carriacou and Grenada simply because of their political inclination. They openly flaunt political parties. Is this not senior people working for $1,200? Some of the people in the road know every day they go to work, they expect it to be the last. Because the word on the ground is the government plan to get rid of the people who've been working 5 years on the road. This is not a question of people being employed for 2-3 months before the election. 5 years before the election, 9 years before the election, 12 years before the election. And government are getting rid of them under the pretext that openly flaunt the NNP. But you have workers that openly flaunt NDC. This is wrong. The government open up the door now to find out the nurses you're taking on contract. Are they supporters of the government? And the Ministry of Mobilization, is this the group that is going to go wrong to determine who is yellow and who is green? Because the government known speakers, the known surrogates, the known political activists are advocating that they fire those people who are green. Well, you must take in people to do the work. So if you're getting rid of people, some people you refuse to pay. When the Attorney General is speaking, she laughing, she happy that people losing their job. This is wrong. And this is the concern that we have. That is another issue you adding in the school. There are some teachers that might say, I don't have time with these children because their mother is a kind of woman. No, would we be hearing that a mother is green? Particularly the NNP, whose voices are strong and they are political activists. Would the children suffer in the schoolhouse? Remember, the government turned over the authority to bring in auxiliary support staff in the hands of the principal. This is the challenge. This is our concern. And in the past, we knew what it was in the revolution. This is what the government have to answer. And I will continue on the program or on Facebook. If I'm not on the program, the station throw me out. I'll continue on Facebook and social media or in the street. The government must answer that. In a small country like ours, it is not a good practice. And we come to the end of the program today, and we want to thank you very much for being with us, those on social media and those who made contributions. And we encourage people. You don't have to agree with us, but we encourage you to participate in our program. And you must always like our program and share our program, because maybe we do not have a big audience, but if you like it and share it, you too will be contributing. Thank you very much.
The future now firmly in our hands. Raise your voices high and sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong.